Hey everybody, this is Thunder Hands. My friends call me Thunder. Well, I'm just sitting around on a Sunday night, relaxing, reflecting, just thinking about everything. And I'm like, there's so much going on in the world and it's so intense, it's just nice to relax sometimes. And I know I've done some videos in the past that, in the recent past, that have just been a screaming voice in the wilderness, and it's like sometimes you have to revert to that higher self. And I was thinking about the term moral compass, and I know a lot of people out there are good people, and I know a lot of people care about their fellow man. But it seems to me like the only way that we're really going to get anywhere is to follow that moral compass, which a lot of people aren't following right now. In fact, that moral compass is shattered. And I'm a pilot, and when you're in an airplane, the thing that you rely upon the most is your compass and your heading indicator, which is like a compass, and your horizontal indicator, which is like a little airplane that is on a horizon, which is also kind of like a compass, tells you when you're tilting and if your wings are at a 45-degree angle or whatever. Compass, direction. And like everybody out there is yelling and screaming about, or they're extremely uptight or anxious about things. And I have to say that sometimes I get this way because I not only care about myself, but I care about my fellow man, like we should. The parable of the Good Samaritan, Jesus, Yeshua. And sometimes, people go, well, why do you quote the Bible so much if you're not a Christian or you claim not to be a Christian? Well, I read all spiritual books. And for me to rule out the Bible would be silly, wouldn't it? Or for me to rule out the I Ching or the Bhagavad Gita or any, you know, the Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu, or the sayings of Confucius, the Analects of Confucius, or any prophet, or any group of people that seem to have a handle. But it seems like there's just these few people in civilizations that have, sometimes are the only ones that have this moral compass, and then so they're the only ones that are like, have that connection with whatever name you want to use. If you want to use the name God, or if you want to use the name the sage, or the higher self, or the ancient of ancients, I like them all. I like the names of God in all tribal traditions too. Like Kichi Manatu is for the Ojibwe people, my people, and then Yusin is the Apache, and Wakantanka would be the Lakota, And, you know, I could think of an endless list. But that God that everybody talks about is some moral compass, either on a higher level or within yourself, that you know is right. You know it's right. It feels right. You feel good when you follow it. And you don't feel good when you see hordes of other masses, leaders, not following it. You wonder, don't they have that in them? Are they that misdirected that they go against all the things that they say they believe in? Now, you know, there's always somebody there in a certain time period, whether it's Jesus, Yeshua, and I use the name Yeshua because I like that name. It's a Aramaic name. Okay, and so I like that name. And then there were other prophets in the Bible too, like Ezekiel and Daniel and John, you know, famous book of Revelations. And then there were prophets in other peoples. That was mainly the Jewish people. But the Hopi had their prophets. The Apache had their holy men and prophets. The Lakota, the Hopi, the Pueblo people, and us. We have our own moral compass within us. And there's been arguments about whether that's implanted in us. The great psychoanalyst and psychologist Jung, spelled Jung, debated this to the nth degree about, you know, whether that was instilled in us from birth or, you know, previous births or whatever you believe in, or is that a learned thing? When you think about all the stuff we learn, it's pretty contrary to that moral compass. And I don't care how many things, what kind of religion you were in, Christian or, you know, Muslim or Jewish or none at all or any organized religion, you always had those people that really spoke loud, were the biggest hypocrites behind the scenes. And you found this out through the grapevine. Oh, did you know that so and so? You know, and invariably it was true. So you have to go within eventually. You come to that conclusion that you can't be dependent on outside sources. Any entity is imperfect. There is no perfection. There is no such thing as a quote clean organization when you got a masses of people to where nobody sins and everybody is just. And what does that word sin mean? It means missing the mark, and don't we all do that? So on reflection, you know, sometimes I get out here and I do videos, and I sound like a hell and brimstone type preacher almost, get out of the cities and, not that I'm saying that what I have said or do say is not right, because it's just a caring for your fellow man, and sometimes you go overboard. Sometimes you get really what I call fire and brimstone, almost. It's only because of what you see and what you see that other people are not seeing, so you feel urgent sometimes to tell people. But you know what? The true way, really, is to go to that inner love, okay? And I had a person tell me one time, and she knows, she's probably listening right now, that we're here to give and receive love. Okay, that's basically why we're here. And, there's nothing that I can disagree with about that at all. Because you don't see that anywhere. But we have to think about this word trust, okay, and this moral compass being either that part of ourselves or our connection with a higher self that tells us, you know, to be calm, to be modest, to have love for one another, to love your family. There's a lot of division being caused right now in families because one side of the family's following, the standardized brainwashed mode of not thinking, and the other one is might be thinking a little bit more and seeing things that are happening, and they're trying to tell this family member, and it's like, no, you're crazy. Oh, come on, don't get into that stuff and all that stuff. So there are a lot of families that are like wondering about their family members, and this is a division that is being caused by outside sources, not not what's inside, but the illusion of this outside chaos around us that surrounds us. So we're all affected by it, okay? So how do you deal with it? Well, you go within. And I've likened this to a hurricane, okay? Which is you know, a storm that has an eye in it that's calm. And in my book, Listen to the Wind, Speak from the Heart, I talk about this staying within this calm eye and going with the flow of the storm and staying in that calm eye. If you were out in a boat in the middle of the ocean and you knew you were in the calm eye of the hurricane and you knew which way it was going, wouldn't you like go that way so that you don't get caught in the wall and whoops, there you go. You have to remember that, and getting back to this thing, and I really want to unite families and unite people in general, but that's not my job. It's not my job. It's up to each individual to come to some sort of realization. And sometimes that realization is hard to come by because you just don't see it and you don't want to see it. You have to think, you have to meditate, you have to pray, you have to do whatever ritual or meditation or prayer that causes you to detach, contemplate, and send out good energy. And when we get caught up in the affairs of the world, we take part in that whole imbalance and it sucks us right into it. Just like getting sucked into the wall of that hurricane. Now, if we were following that moral compass, we would stay in the calm part, and that calm part is where God is, or Great Spirit. So that's where you have to be. You have to be there. And if somebody else doesn't want to be there, you can't drag them there. You can only say, hey, it feels really good here. It feels really good. I feel secure. Which gets back to what I said earlier. Whenever I say a word, it always pops up, and I said the word trust earlier. Trust is just that. You can't trust your own understanding sometimes because it becomes skewed, and you can't even trust friends and family to make the right decision for you. You have to trust in that higher self, that higher power, God, Yeshua, Yusun, Kichimanatu, Ancient of Ancients, Yahweh. I mean, there's 100 names, 1,000 names maybe more than that for the same thing. The same thing. Now, I don't know, to me, I don't want to get negative here because I'm trying to stay positive, but this will drive the point home. When you see people out there, like, say, a president or a secretary of state or, a person high up that's supposed to be respected in any country, okay, that says that they have spiritual values, if you walked up to them and you asked them, well, what do you believe in? What is your belief system? What's your religion? Now, most, not all, but maybe probably, what, three quarters? I don't know anymore. Of the people that are in office and Congress and all that would probably be or call themselves Christians, maybe. I don't know. Aren't most people in this country in some type of religious organization that either believes in Yeshua or Catholics or whatever? They're all Christians. Christ in. Okay. So the question that arises and comes to your mind is, how could these people that call themselves this, and I'm not judging them, but how can people that call themselves this, and they have these 10 commandments and everything, go out and just violate every one of them, boom, 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 one right after the other? And what is that saying about, they shall honor me with their lips, but their hearts will be far removed from me? See, people don't think I know the Bible. I do. Okay. They will honor me, they will give me lip service. Think about that. I'm a Christian. I go to, I'm the president or whatever, and I go to church and everybody sees me. They give lip service, but their hearts are far removed from me. Wolves shall come in sheep's clothing and mislead many. I know all these things. You could put a little thing on me like a minister, and I could get up on the pulpit and say all the same things. But it's the spirit, it's not what you say. It's the humble people. And it is also said that praying in public or making a showy display of praying in public is not where it's at. It's with going within. Doesn't matter what other people think of you as far as like, you know, acts of contrition. Guess that's the word. Contrition. I think that's it. Yeah. Um, but you don't even see that really anymore. Used to see it in my day when I was younger. I don't know what people are thinking, but alls I know is that what great spirit the Ancient of Ancients, God, is telling me is that we have to trust in that source whether we live or die. Doesn't make any difference. And let go of all these chaotic events around us. Okay? Because if we're on our deathbed, and every one of us will be one day, will any of this turmoil and all the stuff that's going around, around out there, and the wars and the people beating up on each other and all this insanity, will that make any difference at that point to you as you're laying there contemplating leaving this realm? Is any of that stuff going to come into your mind? You're going to be concentrated on other things like making peace with yourself. And see, that's how it should be all the time. That's how it should be right now. Life or death, on your deathbed or not, it should be that you're that stuff doesn't make any difference. It's a striving after the wind. It's a striving after the wind. There's nothing out there of any substance that we know about. It's really hilarious when you see these people. I mean, it is actually kind of funny. When you see these people fighting over oil pipelines, and just like the old days of the gold rush when they were cutting each other's throats and turning on indigenous people, and now it's just gotten to this global scale where everybody's after oil and they're destroying the whole world in the process. Well, what do you need the oil for if you're going to destroy the whole world? Does that make sense to you? It doesn't to me. Yeah, let's get all this oil, but then by the time we get done fighting each other and blowing each other up and nuking all the and causing radiation to flow around the world and all that stuff, then what do we need the oil for? There won't be anybody left. It's comical. I mean, you have to laugh at it. It's just like, gee, if I see this, can other people see this? Why can't the leaders see it? The quote leaders are not really leaders. Leaders were like Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse and, you know, Chief Joseph and, all these honorable people who were incidentally non-Christian. Their God was nature and reverence for it, and they went in a lot within themselves, believe me. So I would just say, the real answer is love. The real answer is going within, trying to stay calm and centered amidst the storm, following your moral compass. And that moral compass is called God or Great Spirit or whatever, and you have to trust that compass. Just like when you're in an airplane, let me use an illustration here. When you're in an airplane, they have what they call an instrument rating, which I have. And that instrument rating gives you the ability and the license to take people up with their lives in your hands, just like airline pilots, and fly on just instruments if you go into the clouds. If you fly into the clouds, you cannot see outside the aircraft, and you don't know which way is up and which way is down. There's no way you could know that, and your inner ear tells you something else other than the way you really are, and that's how a lot of pilots that fly into clouds get killed. That's how JFK Jr. died with his girlfriend and her sister. So in this case, you have to trust that instrument. You can't look outside the window. You have to trust the instruments, and that would be the horizontal indicator, situation indicator, the HSI as it's called. You follow that and watch the wings and make sure no matter what your body feels that those wings are straight on that little instrument. And you look at the airspeed to make sure you're not, because if that airspeed starts going up, that means you're going down. And you look at the compass and you look at you do what you call a scan on the instruments. to make sure that you're flying straight and level and on the beam. Well, that's the same thing that we have to do with our moral compass. We have to keep a constant eye or vigilance on the moral compass, because once we start going into a dive or a spin, okay, or a death spiral, because we lost control of that compass, it's almost like you can't recover once you get to a certain velocity in this spin or death spiral, because you lost it with the instruments. The wings of the plane rip off. So that's it. It's over. End of story. You're gone. So it's what I'm talking about with the moral compass. So I wanted to do this video because I know I've done some videos in the past that have been urgent, and so Great Spirit, or my moral compass, is telling me, calm the people down. They really need it right now. We all need it. And there's going to be storms that buffet us, okay? There's going to be things that hit us. The only way we're going to get through it is with that moral compass. And that includes reaching out, okay? Reaching out to your fellow man, brother, sister. I'm here to help you. Will you help me? That's the way you do it. You help each other. Okay, so I just want to talk a little bit about this Campfire Council thing that that I'm trying to, oh, what's the word I want to use here? Build. It's kind of like that movie with Kevin Costner, where he's the baseball player and he Field of Dreams, that's it. Build it and they will come. That's what I'm hoping for here is I'm building this concept or this idea of a campfire council, a loving thing where, there's a council that sits around a campfire and discusses this stuff, even if we're not physically there, which I'd like to be physically. That's why I did my thing, get out of the cities, and I got a little graphic with that. Might have scared some people, but it's truth. But I think everybody kind of knows what would happen if the cities go down. So I'm trying to get people to at least join up, and I put a link down here. I'll put a link to where you can go to the Campfire Council, what its aims are, and if you want to donate to the Campfire Council to facilitate this idea that I have about, I'm making progress with it, slowly. But it seems like, and I'll just be truthful with you, to try to organize let's say a 501c, which is a religious organization, but we're not religious, we're sacred, because it encompasses all spirituality and all spiritual beliefs and all mankind. And our aim is to detach ourselves from those who are not following the moral compass and to get outside the cities where all hell will break loose, literally. If you want to get involved in something like that, I'm offering it. I'm offering a way to do that. And in order to do that, I need to like have a certain amount of capital, not that much, but just enough to form and pay the fees for a charitable organization that is recognized as a church, or but we're going way beyond. That's their definition. That's just so that we can take in property legally, and if people want to write it off, they can. People have this conception that they have to write everything off, and that's a misconception. I could go into a long diatribe about that. And if you want to give to me anyway, give. And I'm saying me, but it's not me. It's us. Okay, I got to get out of that me thing. It's I'm organizing it, but it's not me. It's us. And there's quite a few people that have already signed up. Say, hey, I'm in there. I understand what you're saying. And I'd just like to get some land, a farm, a ranch somewhere to get it started, to get some people together, or enough money to buy, some land so that we can have a meeting center and a spiritual center, that type of thing. It's not a church, because I want this to expand out almost in a tribal fashion. I have dreams of grandeur which could come true when people realize how the situation is really going to go down. And I only say that because every great prophet or, you know, soothsayer or Nostradamus or whatever, they say to watch world events. Okay? And if you watch world events, then you see things. But you have to watch them. But after a while, you don't have to watch them because you just throw up your hands and go, whoo. It's beyond anybody trying to do anything to save it. The only thing that's going to, give us solace is to get out of it and to be within ourselves and be a community of people that are loving and within ourselves. So anyway, all the links you need are down there. There's even a link to sign up for the newsletter, which automatically, when you sign up for that newsletter, I should make this clear that, that means that you want to join or that you already are a member at no cost to you, by the way. And that doesn't mean you have to donate or anything. None of that stuff. You're not required to donate. It's just nice to have people on the list that, but be sure and tell me what you do, because I have a need for people that can like fill out forms, use computers, maybe write a grant, because I can't cover everything. I need help. I'm asking you for help in any way. Call me up and, get a hold of me through the email and say, hey, you know what? I'd like to help you with the organization, and I can do some grant writing, or I can fill out some paperwork, or I'm a lawyer, I know how to do a 501(c). I'll help you. I'll join you. I'm with you, brother. I'm with you, brother. Anyway, I'm out of here. Check out my books if you can, because I think they'll help you. Listen to the Wind Speak from the Heart, and it is an award-winning book. Okay? It's an award-winning book, and I'll try to, as I leave here, I'll say I'm going to put a picture of it, but sometimes I don't. But Maybe this time I will. Adios, people. Love you guys. Really do. And I'm trying to keep it mellow. But remember about that moral compass, okay? All right, later on. I'm out of here. I might flash some pictures of my book this time.